How's it going, everyone? Happy Fabrication Friday. It's Joe, certified prosthetist with Ascent Fabrication. Today I have some really special guests with me, Elizabeth Stone and Melissa Karnowski from the Liner Wand. These guys are going to go through a little bit about their new products here for hygiene for amputees. Hygiene is something that we all need as people, but especially looking into amputees and their liners. This is going to be some really cool products to discuss here over the coming weeks, as Ascent Fabrication is going to be coming out with our own custom silicone cushion liners. So it's going to be a pretty neat opportunity to pair their product with our liners as an add-on to the order, and we possibly might get into some more kind of research into kind of blind studies of whether or not it's going to really have some impact on the liner care overall for certain patients. So without further ado here, Liz, you want to start us out?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having us today. So as Joe mentioned, I'm Elizabeth Stone. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Liner Wand. So the Liner Wand was first developed for bone anchor implants. So the technology is called Apocrine, and it's an underlying technology, a titanium silver coating for bone anchor implants. And then we kind of got into the hygiene coating and cleaning for liners.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting that you guys started out with actually the bone implants too. So you're talking about the osseointegration, right?
Yeah, the osseointegration and just kind of screws and implants in general. Infection's kind of a big issue with that, or a larger issue with that. And so they were looking for two things, I guess. One is the titanium is more compatible with the body. So it's more friendly and the body's not rejecting the implant if it's coated with the titanium. And then, as we all know, silver has antimicrobial properties on it to help with things like fungal and bacteria infection.
Yeah, absolutely. So the titanium in there too, I've seen in several other medical products that definitely makes sense. Is definitely sounds like a nice addition to the chemical makeup of it. Yeah, do you want to get into kind of those nitty gritty details of kind of what's in the different products that you guys have?
Yeah, of course. So I think what we started out with was really the wands, right? So the underlying technology, Apocrine, is what I said, and what it really is it's a two-part chemistry. So that's why you see 1 and 2. Ignore my different color nails; my kids painted them. But what it does is it does two things. As you're applying this, it's really deep cleaning the liner. So it's pulling out all the fat, the debris, the dead skin cells, the dog hair that's on there, whatever's in there that really alcohol isn't doing. So when you're applying alcohol, it might be killing and disinfecting, but it's not pulling out the gunk, the physical gunk that's kind of in that liner. And then it leaves behind, like I mentioned, a silver titanium coating that now is the new interface between the liner and the skin. So, it's a more friendly, compatible interface, and it helps with things like odor issues that people are having, skin irritation issues with their liner.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, odor is something that, we definitely would love to try to combat a little bit. I know as a clinician, I've had some instances where you'll know when a patient walks in the door, whether or not they've been taking care of their liners. That's definitely a necessary thing to do. So with this kind of application technique with the liner wand, so how would an amputee do that themselves? What kind of intervals, and how often should they be doing it?
Yeah, so I think to start, I'll back up a little bit and I'll talk about our cleanser. So
yeah,
I think from the start, if everybody replaced, their daily soap and water that they're using, because soap kind of leaves behind this thin layer of scum on your liner, like you see in your shower, right? So it's leaving behind that. And ultimately what that is when you look under, in a Petri dish, it becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and fungus. So it's feeding off of the soap fat. So what we started with was, kind of at the very least, replacing that soap and water with a non-soap cleanser. This non-soap cleanser is pH balanced. It's fragrant free. It's friendly for the residual limb and the liner. So just even starting with this is a great starting point, right? So people can start with this. It's affordable. It's pretty easy. We have quite a few of the clinicians that are just bulk ordering the cleanser to help patients out and giving it to them as a starter. So this is a great starter for people who are like this, the entire hygiene kit is too overwhelming. It's too much. We just want to up at least our hygiene game with the cleanser. And then, the real magic is the wands, right? So the wands is really that deep cleaning. So the wands you only have to apply every 2 weeks because it chemically bonds to your liner. And even as you continue to, wash it down daily, it doesn't remove the coating. So this really is this ultimate deep cleaner, especially for, the more active people. They're loving it. They're like, this makes our liner feel like new every time we coat it on. It's great for during workouts. We don't have to keep taking off our liner. I don't know, what's some other feedback we've gotten, Melissa?
Oh gosh, you said that it doesn't, the tightness of it doesn't slide down, it doesn't move for them. It keeps it clean while they're changing different sports and stuff like that. What else? I think you kind of touched most of it.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting point to make too. I know we had talked about this a little bit before on your recording about a week ago, but to have the liner be so deep cleaned that you then have this different film, and getting rid of some of that grit in there actually helps increase the friction again of back to its original friction of that material, right? So when we get down to the chemical nature of what is in the liner wand and the cleanser, going through the deep cleaning and leaving behind that layer, it's actually providing a feels like new liner for that person, right?
Yes.
One other thing was that a lot of people use alcohol, which is great for like 30 seconds, but then it also does not do well for the liner, and they have to, ask for another one, get another one made, because it messes up
that starts to break down the actual gels, right? I know that with the Autobach urethane liners, they actually say not to use some alcohol, as well as on the Oser seal-in systems. Using alcohol on that silicone seal will actually degrade the material more so over time, right? So using something like isopropyl alcohol for maybe a once in a while, disinfection if it's really, really needed. If you're now using the liner wand, maybe that's not needed at all, right?
Yeah, no, it does have a tiny bit of alcohol in this. It does, but because it has polar and non-polar solvents in it, it's kind of balancing that out and pulling it. So this would, this replaces the soap and water that people are currently using. This kind of replaces that alcohol, that deep cleaning aspect of it. And the nice part about this too is, since it's only every 2 weeks, a prosthetist could apply it, a caregiver could apply it. So at least, even if they're not daily washing their liner, they have this protective coating on their liner.
Right. So that could be a tool for the prosthetist then to use maybe at follow-up visits. Sometimes we take a look at their liner and we see it's dirty anyways. And I know I, for one, have actually, cleaned my patient's liners sometimes when they come in, because, let's be honest, some people, either don't have the necessary resources to do that very well, or, they're not as mobile as some other people. So it's difficult for some people to really take care of these devices to a point that is even more beneficial for them. Have you guys seen any kind of reactions then to maybe different skin types, or anything to do with dryness of skin or anything like that?
No, so we actually spent a lot of time making sure it didn't kill the good bacteria. So I think a lot of times, like for example, I'll take bleach, right? So bleach kills everything, including the good bacteria, which can lead to skin irritation and infection issues too. So we did all the cytotoxicity testing, the third party testing, and we really kind of played around with that formula to make sure um, it wasn't killing the good flora and good bacteria basically in your skin, because you still need that. And so I think that is very important, because sometimes I see in, some of the Facebook groups, people are like, oh, I just dumped bleach on my residual limb. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I've seen some pretty terrible things that people are doing, and because again, people just don't know, they're trying to kill everything. They think they're being overcautious and, doing something good for their liner or good for their residual limb, but in some instances they are hurting it a little bit more. People putting their liners in the dishwasher or,
And the wash machine, all
washing
sorts of
machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's the same as your gut bacteria, right? You take probiotics and stuff to feed the good gut bacteria, but you don't want, an overgrowth of yeast or the bad bacteria. So, that is definitely an important point.
yeah, absolutely. So for and a prosthetist, let's go from the prosthetist point of view. How would they go about actually ordering this product, and what would you suggest them ordering? How much and what of the cleanser, or how much and what of the wand?
So, I mean, I'm not going to dance around the big elephant in the room that people want this to be ultimately reimbursed by insurance. So, right
Sure.
now, it is not reimbursed by insurance. However, the VA and workers' comp is reimbursing it. So we have Texas workers' comp, we have
Nice.
Boston VA, we have a ton of VAs, and they are more than happy to work with the independent practices to make sure any of their VA patients that are going to see the independent ones can still receive the entire kit. So we've been working with a lot of the independent practices and saying, you can get a whole kit for your VA patients or workers' comp. They will reimburse it. We know that's not, accessible for everybody. So we have a lot of offices that are, like I said, just starting with the cleanser. They're, buying the cleanser in cases, giving it out to their patients, and then the patients can go onto our website and buy direct to consumer the entire kit. So we're trying to, as best as possible, move things around and work with different people at different starting points, to the point of even on our website, we kind of sell everything individually. So if people are like, oh, I can't really afford a whole kit, but I still want to try a dose of it, they're getting something, right? They can just get this, they can just get the cleanser by themselves, they can just get the scrub brushes. So ultimately, my goal is to get it through, get a code reimbursable through insurance, but
Awesome.
It's a chicken or an egg thing. So working with what we got now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on your website right now, showing them just the shop page here with the liner wand kit, the non-soap cleanser, and the travel kit. So guys, this is definitely readily available right now through their website. If you're an amputee and you happen to see this, please ask your prosthetist about this, as well as, maybe reach out to Liz and Melissa here to get some more details about how you can apply that to your liner. I always suggest that if an amputee is doing something different with their prosthetic care, that they involve their prosthetist at every step of the way, just so that they know what is going on, so they can treat you from a more holistic approach, and make sure that everything that they're doing is all kind of compatible with your treatment plan. So for prosthetists here, now showing my page through the custom silicone cushion liners. If you go to ascentfab.com/prosthetics, this is the first thing you'll see with our currently in trial silicone cushion liners. We are going to be finishing up the trial at the end of August, and kind of what we plan to do here is to again evaluate some of the effects of the liner wand on the on the liner to start. So with the first few orders, we're probably going to be providing this with the liners itself. And then, we'll go through and report back on some of the things that we find. But that'll be a nice, introduction into our partnership here and get more of this, really useful tool for amputees out there to, improve their hygiene.
And we also found that just less revisions have some of our favorite people that have talked about us. They rave about us and say that, they feel like they've gotten less revision surgeries because of us, because they keep their skin healthy. And we hope that it is a great partnership with you and shows everybody how great the product can help.
Yeah, that's great to note. It's always nice when we can hear about, possible trends in using new products. So having possible, less revision surgeries because of, less infections to wounds, that would be really interesting to note. If a patient, let me give you this scenario. If a patient does have an open wound, what would you suggest in that respect? If do they take a break from using these cleansers and the liner wand, or as long as they have it covered up and bandaged, have you seen any kind of effects there?
No, I would keep it unbandaged. It would be great for this to be the interface between the wound. However, that being said, I mean, a lot of times if it's that bad of a wound, they're not going to put their liner on. So
you would hope so. I've seen a few patients that, you uncover what is covered and your eyes just get wide with, with anticipation of how you're going to help this patient out. But unfortunately, I've seen some pretty large wounds.
Keep using it, because at least the gunk from the liner is now not going to get into their open wound.
Yep. Yeah, that's good to note. I mean, like you said, you did some research there with the surgical sites, right?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we'd love to go into wound care. Right now we have the hygiene product, and we're looking at using it in other applications like wound care.
Yeah, nice. Well, I do know some prosthetists that are directly involved with wound care already, that I've worked with in the past. So I'll definitely mention this to them and see how we can better spread the word here. But was there anything else that you guys wanted to add to kind of wrap this up today?
I don't think so. Yeah.
yeah. Easy ordering directly through their website. Like I said, we're going to be offering it with an undetermined amount of initial liners from us, starting at the end of August, early September. I think we're going to apply the first layer of the liner wands directly to at least one of the liners in a pair to a patient, and see how that goes. But then also package the cleanser with it as well, so that the amputee can go ahead and try that out, and prosthetists too can get exposed to these two products.